All right, y'all, I am having a moment here, and this is my MCP moment specifically. I have been exploring what this tech can do in terms of MCPs, which is like being able to be me and my AI, which could be Claude Desktop. I'm using Cursor. There's a few other options out there right now, and I think we'll see a lot more from platforms like OpenAI and stuff up here in the future. For right now, I am in the process of setting up my Google Drive authorization and my Google Sheets and working with my agent, who I have named MOXI, my MarketSauce operating central intelligence, to act as my right-hand chief of staff, where I'm essentially interacting with it through Cursor. And that looks like this. And I'm accessing specific sheets that I'm giving it authorization to, but I'm setting it up in such a way that I'm making sure that the right security protocols are set up so that it's not everybody that needs view access or edit access. It's limited to my AI executive chief of staff. And so I'm setting this up, and the moment I'm having related to this is that what I've done this morning using this platform called Composio. I was doing some research on it, and Composio allows you to connect to these managed MCP servers with a built-in authentication. What it's letting me do is go through, and like you can see here, my Notion, I'm working on Slack, I've got my Gmail, I've got my Google Drive, I've got my Google Sheets, and I'll be adding in GitHub. What this is allowing me to do is be me here. And I just connected my content production sheet. So basically what this means and how it's going down through here, it says I can now see the content production pipeline, I can see dates, outcomes, various platform statuses, Zoom, Script, Notion, Drive. It can see all of the stuff in the sheet that I just gave it direct access to. And now what I can say is something like create a new video in production called My MCP Moment. And I'll be able to tell my interface here in Cursor that I want it to do this. And right now what it's doing is I'm helping you create the sheet. I'm still accepting the things that it's going to be doing. But now it's saying I'll create a new video entry called My MCP Moment in the content production pipeline. This role. So we see I've added this. Darby is the owner. The date. My MCP Moment is the outcome. And it says, what would you like me to do? So I'm going to say, create a Drive folder in my content production drive for this video, and email that link to me, Darby, at genAIuniversity.com. Okay, so now I'm having it email me. I'm having it go, and I'm still having it do this. But the thing I'm trying to articulate here, and the reason that this is my MCP moment right now, because I'm finally seeing how to connect all these, which I've been trying to figure out how to do, and initially via Slack, but this just makes it so much easier because it's already built into Cursor, is now instead of going to Google Drive, going and setting up a folder, emailing myself that folder, and then uploading this video, for example. This is just an example video, but if I were to want to upload that video as an example, my goal is to be able to go and use this content production sheet, which looks like this for me. So I have it color coordinated. You can see all these are older. I have a lot of different videos from the past on here that are all green. And so I have assignments, Google Drive folders, any sort of notes. And so this is how I operate it right now. And so you can see this is pretty basic and simple in terms of content production inside of a Google Sheet. But having everything all here in one place inside of one sheet is how I've been operating my content production for years, not just for myself, but for like different projects that I manage. For example, like from when I was running even an Amazon agency back before Jasper even started, I was using this sort of process to manage building hundreds and hundreds of different listings. And so there's a lot of different applications for how you would manage a Google spreadsheet to manage projects, information, and otherwise. But now I just got a notification Look at this. It just built a new sheet. Let me see why it did that. I say I want this. So I'm still working with it now to make sure that it's updating it properly, because it did just update a row right here in the middle. But you see, my MCP moment was right there, and that was here, but then it seems to have overwritten the outcome here from a YouTube video that I had. And so that's not really what I wanted it to do. And that's a much older video. So I'm just going to update that. But what it did do, and so like in some sense it worked. I have now my MCP moment here inside of my drive. So now I have this folder inside of my drive that I didn't have to go and set that up, but I do want it to send and add into this drive folder. And so all I'm going to say is like, and it's going to go do this. And so the reason I think that this is so cool, this is going to be such a game changer in the literal sense, is because the time that it would have taken me alone just to go and set a project like this up probably would have taken me a couple of minutes. May not sound like a lot of time, but that was a very simple use case where now I can open up my phone as soon as I'm done with this email and then upload into that drive folder that I just created here. And that just saved me all of this time from having to go set the project up and doing everything, to then filming a video and then uploading it directly to that drive folder, where that drive folder, once a video gets uploaded, it could now also trigger another step in the workflow or automation of whatever sort, where it could get imported then into something like Descript, where I could edit it and then begin to process the content. And for me, that's huge, because whether you're creating, processing, and developing your own content workflows yourself, or you have a teammate on your organization that's managing content as it's coming in, this is a huge enabler for anyone to be able to centralize how you're interacting with AI as your own assistant, executive assistant in this case, because I have it with a bunch of these other things, for just back-end stuff like updating a Notion CRM, to grabbing information, to sending an email, to updating a folder, to making sure the right links are added into a project spreadsheet, and having this all tied together to where now, rather than going and manually bouncing back and forth between all of these tasks, it's all right here inside of my cursor. And it's still going to take some work to set up. And I'm having this whole moment happen right now on a Sunday morning when I'm just spending some time learning, going through, doing it, enjoying some coffee. And at the end of the day, the seconds and the minutes and the hours that this will end up saving me on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis is going to compound. And to me, that's a huge win, because time being the most valuable resource that any of us have, and the most finite resource that any of us have, being able to remove ourselves from just jumping back and forth in these things in a way that didn't require me to even create any sort of connections in make.com, in N8N, in Zapier, any of these other platforms that are connectors, yet I'll likely be using those for other integrations to continue to build on top of this system. But this was all set up by pre-existing servers. Notion, Google Drive, I'm integrating Slack, Google Sheets, tying them all together. So now I have one interface that I can talk to and I can gather information back from, that I can actually go and take actions on. I can send emails, I can manage communications, update partner contacts more effectively and more efficiently. And I can do all of that literally by talking to my chat integration inside of Cursor, which is also using Claude, which is one of my go-tos right now. And we'll see more and more tools. Like, I'm sure OpenAI will come out with their own way that you can utilize this technology for MCP inside of their platform. So I think the power of this is huge. I would highly encourage you to go and watch Roger Campbell II's demonstration at the Scale with AI Summit from 2025. If this is like your first exposure to what MCPs are, you just want to understand how you would even get started with setting up what I did here. But I wanted to share the moment I was having this morning with you, because this is so cool and this is so powerful. And the time that it's going to take me to set up and optimize and tweak this, I will get back, in some cases right away, just different tasks to accomplish an outcome that I'm going for. And that to me is a win. That to me is what AI is so good at helping us do. And we can understand our own workflows at a deeper level, organize our information, and then using this model context protocol technology to plug into and to streamline and save up and free up our own time, so that we can put that back into things that we want to be spending more of our time with. And to me, that's the big win. And I hope you have your win too as well here soon with MCPs. And if you have had an MCP moment of yourself, let me know, drop a comment. And if you haven't, and if you have questions, drop a comment or share some questions that you might have around how would MCPs work for you. Let's open up the conversation, and let's see how we can all leverage this technology to grow and scale our businesses and our lives with AI. All right, guys, keep coming AI on. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube if that's where you're watching this. And I'll see you on the other side. Cheers, y'all.